Whoa, we're back.
Hey there, guys. We are here, as you've probably read the title, to talk about... I'm going to say this is objective, and they're going to be the best movies.
That we have seen.
Yes, that we have seen, because there has been some big ones that we haven't seen. I'll go ahead and mention a few of the big ones that we haven't seen, just so you know like why they're not on here. We didn't get to see Parasite, which I heard was a very good, I guess, foreign film. The Lighthouse, obviously, I heard a lot of praise with.
Willem Dafoe, my man.
William Dafoe. That's a Rick and Morty episode for you. And then I don't know if I'd really put this as like best, but like I didn't get to see Hobbs and Shaw even though I wanted to. But anyway, but mainly those two, Parasite and Lighthouse, have been.
Irishman.
Irishman. That's right. I always forget about that because Netflix, which was important because this affected decisions greatly. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and start. We'll just go back and forth because we have each our own list. So I'll let Michael start with his 5. I'll say my 5, and then we'll do it in that order.
So just to preface this list a little bit, mine is going to be, I wouldn't say severely limited, but fairly limited, because I probably watched 10 to 12 movies this year. But there were some real highlights. So last minute decision, I am going to place Jumanji. Jumanji and Glass are kind of equal, but I'll place Jumanji as my number 5. It was a really fun experience. I really liked the game elements. I think The Rock as Danny DeVito is just a funny idea. But I do think like Danny DeVito and the parts that he was actually on screen did really well. And I think Kevin Hart also did really well. The only thing that I didn't really like is some of the like high school, college era romance stuff. It was like very, oh my gosh,
very
I want to die inside.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think the plot was fun, enjoyable. It's not a movie that you want to follow the logic closely in, but it's it's a good popcorn movie that you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the visuals and the performances.
I agree with that. It was. I still had fun with it. At my 5th spot, which I'm glad Michael reminded me. And I can't believe it took me this long to realize it, but I'm putting El Camino, which is the kind of like the finito, the epilogue for Breaking Bad.
In another language.
Hey, it's El Camino. I thought, whatever. But anyway, I really love this. It's not really a necessary film because I think it's, like it's like a what would you call it? The only choice of direction that it had to go, but they perfectly. Finished that. I think it's one that made it on my list mostly just because like Breaking Bad's been off the air for I think at least close to a decade. I think it's been a decade since it started. I don't know what I'm smoking.
It's been several years,
but it has been several years, and not watching that show for a while. Coming back and just watching this like 2-hour experience and just literally having sweats while sitting in my chair, thinking like. Oh crap, don't die on me, Jesse. It's a great film. I really thought it was a perfect movie tie-in for a show that's been long off the air. But anyway, your spot for number 4?
So for number 4, there had to be one Marvel movie on the list. For many people, it's going to be, for me, for many people it'll be Endgame. A lot of people like that movie. I still haven't seen that movie. Can't really be mine. So mine is Spider-Man: Far From Home. I think the plot was interesting, the villain was kind of interesting, and you got some good memes. Like you got Avenger level threat. That was a good meme for a couple days, and also the set pieces. It may be a little bit biased because we were there. So I recognize that bridge. Oh, I recognize this. But.
There is one joke in it that hits us very hard because there's like a joke when they're wanting to look at the museum and they're like, oh, it's closed for innovation because we actually had that happen to us. So I will say, though, the only thing I'll say, and not bashing you for this, but the only real knee-jerk reaction that movie was able to get out of me was that post-credit scene, which, whatever. For mine, we're on 4 still. Mine's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't remember this. I think it's the 9th Tarantino film.
8th or 9th, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I got that right.
Maybe 7. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. But it's just I think there's a multitude of things that I love about the movie. I do like the kind of mix up of, because I don't want to spoil it in case nobody knows and they want to go in blind if you haven't seen it already. But there is a certain real life event that they kind of base things around. So I like that there's that aspect, but also just seeing like the way he blends that period and makes it come to life. I really liked the movie overall, and I think it is, out of all the movies I saw this year, maybe the one that blew me away the most in terms of performance, just because I am not a fan really of Leonardo DiCaprio, and I haven't watched a lot of Brad Pitt movies, but this was easily the best performance I think I've seen both of them.
And you get Bruce Lee beat up. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, like a daydream thing. That's awesome. But anyway, you're number 3. If I can do a... While he's looking at anime stuff.
Oh, we have
on the fast time.
We have the top. We're gonna have some anime lists after this.
Sure.
So this one is really a surprise this year. Coming into the movie, it was low expectations. I think the concept is ridiculous, but also great at the same time. And that'll be the first DC entry on my list, which is Shazam.
Oh yeah.
Shazam. It really served a niche that DC didn't have, at least in its mainstream movies. If you're looking at Batman v Superman, if you're looking at Justice League movies, it really didn't understand what comedy was.
The Snyder Cut.
Yeah, it didn't really understand what comedy was, and I think Shazam really had a nice balance of comedy and action. And I would say the villain was menacing enough. And there's some really dark scenes. Like there's this the scene that sticks with me to this day is like, as a scene that you don't really see in superhero movies often, is the office scene where you have the 7 demon
Deadly
things.
Sins?
I don't know. Yeah, something. They're attacking people, and you're like, whoa, those people are like dead. Like there's no like gray area. They just die.
Yeah, because for a movie that's kind of focused as a really fun superhero take, and it's kind of got that kid focus, to have something like that in there was for sure unexpected. But I appreciate them having that in there. And I think Chuck gives a very good performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a few people will get that.
It's a good show.
For my number 3 spot, I had to pick actually another sequel to a franchise that I really adore, and that is Zombieland 2 Double Tap. I think they just really nailed the atmosphere for a sequel. It's different in the ways it needs to be, but it's not over and top about changing the things or taking away focus from the characters you already love. So that is something I think it really deserves praise for. And I actually really am curious if they're going to come back for a third one. The only thing I'll say in closing about that movie is, and I will fight people to this, best in-credit scene of all time. That's all I'll say.
I have not seen this movie, but I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah. If anything, people go Google that in-credit scene right now. It's freaking amazing. But anyway, I guess that leads us to the number 2 spot, which is just getting close to
the
perfection.
End. Yeah. This one is a movie that Josh has already mentioned, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think it is a little bit... It's definitely not my favorite Tarantino movie, which is obviously difficult to talk about because they're so good.
Pulp Fiction's up there, dude.
Pulp Fiction. Genuine Change is really a movie I really like as well. And Inglourious Basterds is great.
The Bad Jew.
Exactly. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think it has a place, and if you haven't seen it, you should go see it.
Yeah. And, Leonardo DiCaprio definitely knows how to make a margarita. In picture form. It's going to last you all night. And then for my number 2 spot, this is a movie I actually saw really recently. I wanted to see it when it first came out, but I didn't. But it was worth the wait, and that is Knives Out. This is one probably I was the most afraid of seeing because I wasn't really sure what to expect. If you guys don't know, this is a movie done by director Rian Johnson, and he is probably, one, I'll just say, I'm going to come after you right now. You're a piece of garbage in real life, just from the interviews I've seen you do. But I will say, really hit and miss on your movies. This is one that I actually do love, and I'll give credit where credit's due. This is maybe my favorite whodunit movie now.
Really? Over the Tarantino one?
Yeah, I think so, because this one's just, the cast is there with the amazing performances. I think the characters are written really interestingly. Even when characters don't have a lot of screen time, you really are appreciative of what you get. I think, as you would expect, there's twists and turns in it, and I think they do a really good job of making the obvious not, in your face. You know what I mean? So the thing that you would probably think of in terms of this genre does a really good job of twisting it on its head a little bit at the beginning. And saving it for the end.
disclosure, I have not seen this movie. Is this your favorite Daniel Craig performance?
Yeah, probably. Just because I love that he has a southern accent in this, and also I might be in the lower category or the less division of this, but I don't really think his Bond movies are that great.
All right, so number one for me.
Everybody's just like, this list is garbage now. I don't trust a word this guy says.
I don't think those are movies I really love that much. But number one, it's no surprise. It's a movie that I don't think I was part of the review for the channel, or I don't even know if we reviewed.
There wasn't one. We wanted to so bad, but we didn't make it.
But it's the Joker or Joker. I think this movie had a lot of controversy, which I will not get into. But needless to say, the impact it had on me as far as just an interesting backstory of a villain, and just how his descent into madness and how his, society had failed him. There's a lot of the good philosophical things or philosophical points that people have talked about on the Joker, but even not getting into that necessarily, you have some really great moments. You have some really funny moments, and I think if you don't appreciate, I'm gonna sneeze. Give me a second. It's gone. All right, boys. If you don't appreciate the interview scene at the end, where he's on a talk show, that's just amazing, and I think it's a really good movie that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, this movie, it's also my number one. How could it not be? That's not to say this movie is perfect, and definitely there will be some division amongst fans of, like, if they like this origin story for, this iconic villain, like you said. But I absolutely love the movie. I think, Joaquin Phoenix just does an incredible job. The score in this is beautiful. And I think, it's just a really good character study. I think it's something that, seeing how complex the Joker is and kind of giving that depth to the writing, I think it's just the perfect pairing for this, and I can't wait to see if they go in a different direction with any sequels or stuff like that. But I think just standing it on itself, it is definitely worth the top pick. I could say more and more, but it's already a long video, so I won't do that because plenty of people have already done that online. But it's a very good movie, so I think it's worth both of our slots.
So that was our favorite movie of the year. Please comment what yours was. You know what it is not? Episode 9 of Star Wars.
Yeah,
but anyway,
nobody's watching that.
But anyway, we're probably going to have a top 5 anime list. We may have some other top 10, top 5 lists come out at the end of the year. And maybe we'll have some decade lists since it's the end of the decade.
Yeah, this was hard enough, though, because this year was, especially in movies, was a really good year for movies. But we definitely do want to do some decade lists, so stay tuned for that.
And it'll be the top 1 game that I played this year, because I only played 1 game. Well, anyway, later Addicts, and we'll see you on the other side with more Danmachi, more anime content, more video game content, more TV shows. We got Rick and Morty, and we'll be back. Later Addicts.
Peace.